Hey guys, so I wanted to just make a quick video here on election eve, I guess. This is not going to be a super rigorous video in a lot of ways. I just kind of wanted to address a couple things. So one thing that a lot of folks are concerned about with the Democratic candidates is that they basically say, well, aren't we at risk of falling into socialism? Now, I will first say I remember when Barack Obama was supposedly a communist. That didn't really pan out the way people thought it was going to. And frankly, it was all a bunch of alarmist nonsense. There's this idea that, a Biden administration would be a socialist Trojan horse. First of all, it's not a Trojan horse if it's literally the basic function of the vice presidency and the presidency under the authority of the Constitution. There does not appear to be any actual conspiracy here. You've seen the debates. Biden was pretty on top of things. Are there troubling things about his ability to, his cognitive ability? Yeah, there are a few things. He's older, but so is our current president, and he certainly is not exactly a bastion of great cognitive ability or, good decision making. So people say, well, Kamala and Bernie would basically be in charge. Well, first of all, neither of them are actually pure socialists. The closest that you get is with Bernie, and he's a democratic socialist, which is not the same thing, which, by the way, we already have some socialist policies in this country, which Trump keeps wrongly saying Biden is trying to take away. So like Social Security and Medicare and Medicaid, those are socialist policies, technically speaking. They are welfare policies. So really, with all this talk of, Bernie Sanders would have all this influence over the administration, or Kamala Harris would have all this influence. Kamala Harris is not nearly as far left as people make her out to be. She was one of the moderate candidates during the Democratic primaries. And I understand that, her voting record in 2019 indicates that she was like the most liberal person in the Senate. But really, I don't think that's the most reliable metric to use for determining how radical someone's policy ideas are. If you look at this political compass, it's pretty evident that she's not that radical. Certainly not a Bernie. When people freak out and they say, oh, it's the Biden campaign is a Trojan horse for socialism, it's really, it's speculative, because it assumes that Biden is going to be removed, and the evidence for that isn't super strong. But also it assumes a lot of things about Kamala that aren't really true. Like, yeah, she is further left than Biden, but most Democratic candidates were. And really, there's only so much that one administration can do, and frankly, I don't see that happening. And also, I would urge you to consider, why is socialism becoming so popular, especially among young people? Well, it's largely because economic opportunity is absolutely abysmal right now. Living expenses vastly outstrip wages. People are not getting the jobs that they were told they were going to get with the degrees that they went and spent tons of money on. Student debt is overwhelming. It's not just something where you can just pull yourself up by your own bootstraps. It's not how that works anymore. And, it's to the point where people aren't able to afford healthcare. And, call me a socialist if you want. I'm certainly not one, but, I happen to think that, healthcare is a human right. You deserve a good quality of life. You shouldn't have your healthcare determined by your wallet. Your value as a person doesn't come from your net worth. I think especially for Christians who are watching this, we should recognize that. Jesus certainly did. Now, some people are concerned about the Equality Act, which basically would make it would be an extension of the Civil Rights Act of 1964, but to include folks who are in the LGBTQ community. Some people on the right, especially Trump, are saying, oh, well, this would take away your religious liberty. That's false. Really, the only way in which the state or the government had any influence over the church in regards to the Civil Rights Act was basically saying, hey, you can't discriminate against someone in hiring practices because of their skin color or because of their gender. And even then, how many churches do you know that got, lost their tax exempt status because they wouldn't hire a female priest or preacher? I don't know of any. Maybe they exist. I don't know. Certainly not widespread. There's nothing in the bill that addresses really religious institutions in terms of, oh, they're going to make you, marry people in relationships that you don't agree with. I have yet to see anything like that. So go and read the bill for yourself. Don't just trust what, Trump or the Family Research Council tells you. Be realistic about, okay, what is this bill actually saying? What is this bill actually going to do? The Supreme Court decision a few years back about gay marriage, that didn't result in churches being forced to marry gay people. As far as I'm aware, if there have been cases of that, they've been very few and far between. But, your religious liberty is not at risk. Biden is not going to, as Trump put it, hurt God, okay? Frankly, the only God in Trump's mind that can be hurt by Biden is him, Donald Trump. Really, the last thing I would say is that, conservative Christians, in many respects, made this Faustian bargain with Trump that, if you address the abortion issue, then we'll support you. Now, Trump basically, he served his purpose. He appointed 3 conservative Supreme Court justices. We've had conservative majorities on the Supreme Court before, and they haven't overturned Roe v. Wade. I'm not expecting that to change. I frankly think that, Trump has done what you wanted him to do in that regard, but he's also been horrible at governance, as I've covered in my other videos. I encourage you to watch them. He's making a laughingstock of the pro-life cause. Now, regardless of who you support or don't support, I hope that you get out there and vote, because it's really important. I consider it a civic duty. Of course, you're free to abstain from voting, but I would strongly encourage you to get out there and vote. This election is very important. And I've made my case for why I think you should vote for Biden, but I certainly have made a case for why you should not vote for Trump. And I hope you will take it seriously and ask yourself, if you're continuing to support Trump, is it because you're unwilling to admit you were wrong, or that he's wrong, or that he does things incorrectly and wrongly? Or is it because you actually think he's best for the country? I would never want to ask someone to violate their conscience in their voting, but I think the conscience should be informed by facts. And I've done my best to lay out the facts in these videos. Now, obviously, I'm biased. I'm very biased against Trump, but the sources that I've provided, the things that I've said, I've done my best to be truthful in making my arguments. And I hope that you will consider them. I hope you get out there and vote. I hope that you and your loved ones are safe and that you remain so. And thank you so much for watching these videos, and I hope that you'll continue to watch whatever it is I end up doing after this election in terms of video production stuff. But yeah, thanks for watching. Be safe.